Welcome to the Canadian Investors Course, Session 10 Packaged Investment Products Commentary. Slide 2, Terms of Use and Disclaimer. We strongly request that you read this slide. Fund humor. Look at Dilbert. I recommend our churn and burn family of mutual funds. We'll turn your worthless equity into valuable brokerage fees in just 3 days. Is it risky? Are you kidding? We have actual brochures. Why do many money managers say that index ETFs outperform or do as well as mutual funds? 95% of the benefits of diversification are captured in a 30-stock portfolio. This is a common belief held by virtually all investment professionals. It's based on research conducted by Professors Lawrence Fisher and James Lowry in New York Stock Exchange traded funds from 1926 to 65. It's basically the theory of modern portfolio manager. So they created this chart, which is on page 6, that suggests that the non-diversifiable risk becomes pretty much flatline after about 25 stocks. So in other words, whether you have 25 or 50 stocks, the non-diversifiable risk is really disappears. Whereas anywhere from 1 to 25 stocks, there's noticeable diversifiable risk. So the argument is that you should have, if you want a portfolio, an efficient portfolio that is a stock picker's portfolio, it ought to contain somewhere between 25 and 35 stocks, because that's where the individual stocks can make a difference to the portfolio. So let's look at the correlation of mutual funds. If you have two mutual funds that move up and down together, they are correlated. If you have funds that don't move up and down together, they're not correlated. Correlated means that if you own one or both, you're going to get about the same result. So how can you diversify? Well, you can diversify by asset type, you can diversify by manager style, you can diversify by capitalization, large or small cap, you can diversify by sector and also by geography. So examples of diversified portfolios. Example 1 would be to have an international equity fund and a Canadian mortgage fund. There you've diversified geographically and you've diversified by investment type too. You've got a mortgage fund, which is a fixed income investment, and you've got an international equity fund, which is an equity fund focused on international holdings. Another example would be an equity fund and any kind of a fixed income fund. So how should you do your mutual fund selection? Well, first of all, high volatility does not necessarily equate to higher returns. So why not screen for higher returns at lower volatility? Screen for lower standard deviation. Practice asset allocation between equities, fixed income, cash and cash equivalents, also geographically and by sector. So where's the bulk of the money? Look at this. Look at slide number 11. All those interest-sensitive funds total 42.56 billion, and this was back in about 2010 or something like that. And these other funds, life sciences, health, resource, technology, energy, and precious metals, represent 1.35 billion. So right now, today, you can see where most of the money is in the market, in the mutual fund market in any case. So the next question is a balanced fund a good investment? Well, first of all, what is a balanced fund? Canadians love them. A typical balanced fund has about 60% stocks and 40% fixed income. So the question is, how much can you make with such a fund? Well, let's say that we've got our 60% stocks, and let's assume a rate of return of 4%. So the proportional return is 4.2. We've got 40% bonds, assume rate of return is 2%. So proportional return is 0.8. So the total expected return from this portfolio, if everything goes well, is about 5%. So here's the $64 question. Is that a satisfactory return? Well, what about the MER? Well, if the MER is 2.25% on this fund and 5% was the expected rate of return, that means that the rate of return that you can expect from this fund is about 2.75%, and that's with equity risk. And that means that the MER used about 45% of the return. So it's very important to know what your fund is made up of and ask for the investment guidelines, and very important, understand how much it costs for the fund to operate. And that is the end of the commentary for segment 10, packaged investment products.